So, I'm going to have a ramble around what it means to be a human being from a shamanic point of view. There's all sorts of complex, a complex of ideas around this that I'll try to sort of unravel. The first thing is that traditionally human beings were viewed as relational rather than autonomous. We have this idea of the sort of the lone hero carving his place in the wilderness, an unrelenting, hostile wilderness. Nature is something to be fought. But of course, traditionally, we are part of the natural world. We belong to the natural world. That's something that we easily forget as human beings. We take it for granted. We see it as something to be, even in the modern days, to be exploited because it's dead. Viewing the universe as dead, it's an awful thing, yeah, because it means, well, if it's dead, we can just exploit it, we can just use it, and we forget to thank it, we forget to appreciate her, him, not it. Um, that's why it's good to give thanks every morning to the sun, to the four elements: fire, earth, air, and water, sun, soil, rain, and wind. That's a much more tangible way of looking at the four elements: sun, rain, soil, and wind, fire, earth, air, and water, going around the medicine wheel. And we are that. We are nothing but that. It's not like consciousness is an add on to that, because the natural world is conscious as well. Consciousness is in those elements. Um, if you like, consciousness is the subjective pole of which matter is the objective pole. One's inner, one's outer, but they're the same thing. It's just we divide it up for purposes in a way of convenience, and we don't even know we're doing it. So we are part of the natural world. We belong to the natural world. That is the foundation of shamanism. The second thing is, okay, so we are relational. That's traditional rather than autonomous. Nowadays, we stress autonomy, we stress the rights of the individual. And I think it's better to talk about your responsibilities as part of a collective. That's what matters, not your rights. Your rights tend towards selfishness, self-centeredness, and disconnection from everything. So, what are we? In that context of being this relational individual who's part of the universe and nothing else but part of the universe, what are we? Well, as Wordsworth says, we come trailing clouds of glory. How does he put it? He goes, our birth is but a sleep and a forgetting. The soul that rises with us, our life's star, hath elsewhere had its setting, and cometh from afar. Not in entire forgetfulness, and not in utter nakedness, but trailing clouds of glory do we come from God, who is our home. And he continues beyond that. Heaven abounds around us in our infancy. He carries on. He talks about how the light gradually withdraws as we get older. Well, you don't have to believe in God to get the point. It's like we come from spirit. That is the basic shamanic perspective. And traditional perspective, we come from spirit. We're not a product of our genes. We're not a product of our childhood. Those things have an influence, but they're not fundamental. And so that creates a tension, if you like, between the shamanic perspective and the modern psychotherapeutic and scientific perspective. The psychotherapeutic perspective is that we're largely a product of our childhood. At least that would be a foundation of psychotherapy. It's not the only thing, but that's foundational. And science, well, we're just a product of our genes. So we're a cause. We're a cause of an effect. We're an effect of our genes and an effect of our childhood. And the shamanic perspective is no, we're a cause. We're fire, with a fire element coming in through the medicine wheel, the beginning, birth. We come in trailing clouds of glory, and probably our demons as well. And we come with a destiny, if you like, a pattern to unfold. So you'd get someone, they'd go out on a vision quest, and maybe they'd have a vision. That might not be literal. It might be something they see, but it might be something they feel. It might be a dream. It might be just a few words. And then you unpack it. You go back and you unpack it with an elder. And sometimes that will lay your whole life out for you. This is the sort of person you are. This is the journey you must take. Robert Johnson, look him up on YouTube. He's a Jungian analyst. Interesting guy. As a young man, he went to Jung with a dream, or at least he went to Emma Jung, Jung's wife, and because he was having analysis with her, and she goes, "This dream's really big. You've got to see my husband about it." So he goes to see her. He goes to Carl Jung, and it was a huge dream. I mean, he lays it out in his book, but Jung said, "You must never marry, and you must never join any institutions." I can't remember what else he said. And Robert Johnson said, "That's how it's worked out. If ever I've tried to do those things, it just hasn't worked." Yeah. So Jung could kind of see the type of person he was going forward into the future from that dream, the sort of long-term prognosis. So it is as if there is a destiny written for us that we get the odd glimpse of. That's, in a way, that's our fate. Fate as a living thing. Fate was living for the ancient Greeks, the three Moirai, who spun the thread of your life, measured it out and cut it. And there was your life and its span and its nature. And that's what something like the Vision Quest is producing, yeah, showing us. So yeah, we have free will, but we have the free will to do that which we have to do, if you like, to do gladly that which we have to do. That's what free will is, because what we're doing is we're following those little callings within us, our interests, our callings. We didn't decide them. You never know what someone's going to be interested in. It can be quite unusual, quite unexpected. But we have to follow them if we want to feel fulfilled. We have to trust them rather than what other people think our lives should be, which often are, society can have put dreams in us as to how we should live. Our parents can do that. That's just what happens, yeah. But if you're on this kind of path, you've got your own kind of vision, and you struggle to find that. So I think it's important that our first port of call in who we are, in self-understanding, is this sense of fate, rather than, what our relationship with our mother was like, what a relationship our father was like, and how that explains this, that, or the other. I think that we can always invent stories, but are they true? Who knows? It's nice to have a story. It's comforting to have a story. You can spend thousands of pounds with your analyst exploring that story over many years. But I think it reduces us. We're always a mystery. Why do we have particular demons? It doesn't mean there's something gone wrong. They're often exactly what we need to move forward. So when we have a soul retrieval, what's happening there? It's not, I don't see it as correcting something that went wrong. I see it as, okay, it's now time to live this and everything that comes with it in the larger pattern of things. Okay, I'm doing this for TikTok, so I'm going to stick to 10 minutes. So I'll leave that there.